Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Spirituality at Work vlog, brought to you from the historic town of Carlow. Now, there has been a bit of kind of backlash in the media. Obviously, there's been an enormous surge in demand in terms of talks on mental health and workshops and wellness and that kind of thing. A huge surge that has been very badly needed since all of the lockdowns that we've all experienced. But there is this kind of slight backlash in the media, and particularly in US media, and the notion that kind of workplaces are being held to ransom by the this wellness surge and interest in wellness and well-being. But I think what's really happening is a righting of previous wrongs, because before we tended to have the workplace as the master and the employees as the kind of the servant, and employees were always in service of the workplace, whereas now it's really a righting of those wrongs and realizing that all workplaces must be of service to society. They're created by society, they are man-made entities, and therefore need to serve society better. So really what we're doing is kind of applied spirituality at work, because spirituality at work is never supposed to be ethereal or nebulous or kind of some abstract notion that can never really get grounded. And really, when we're talking about values, that's exactly what spirituality is. It's about applied living and how it applies to the values that we live by, and indeed the societal structures that we live by. So a lot of the workshops that I'm talking about and I'm talking at the moment, always around the area of mental health and well-being, and how do we get that next step further in terms of mental health and well-being. A lot of the time we talk about other people's mental health, don't we? And we talk about, I want to be the person that people will feel that they can be open to, and that, that I'm somebody that they can be open with and talk to and all that kind of thing. But what we really need to be is be much more open about our own mental health and the natural fluctuations in mental health, because we tend to only go to people when we're in crisis. We tend to only talk about mental health when it's mental health illness, instead of the very natural fluctuations that are in our everyday lives. And when we're honest about that, we give license, as I'm always using the word license, we give license for other people to be open about their own fluctuations and indeed perhaps disorders that they live with. So what I'd suggest is that just one step in the right direction would be the next time somebody asks you, how are you? That you don't just kind of immediately deflect and go into grand, how are you doing? Sure, who'd be listening? Or all of those kind of very Irish phrases. And instead start to actually answer honestly. It might be just one sentence. It might be just saying, I'm really tense, or didn't sleep well last night, or I'm really stressed, or I'm really nervous, or I'm worried about something coming up. Whatever it might be, whatever little bit of honesty you want to give, or of course lots of honesty if you want to open up completely. But what it does is it closes the gap between the distance that somebody has to jump in terms of going from that kind of shutdown of Asher I'm grand to actually being able to come and speak to you and say, do you know something, I'm actually really not grand at all. So that's what we're looking for, to close that gap, so that people have a little bit of a lead in. They have a little bit of, oh golly, I know what you mean, or I'm glad you said that because I've actually been feeling that for 6 months, or crikey, I thought I was the only one who thought that. So you're beginning the conversation around mental health and the very normal mental health fluctuations, as well as heading into the disorders as well. So that's just one tip in terms of getting it real, instead of taking mental health off the posters on our walls and down into real life. All right, until next time, talk to you soon. Look after yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.